The success of Mira under your leading is 1,323% of growth.
Eastern European people really good to work with. When I applied to work at Mira, it was just founders, and basically they were looking for the first hire.
Oh, wow.
There are sticks like this that you dip into urine for first morning thing, and you put stick into the device, and device synchronizes with the app and tells you your hormonal levels.
So how does it feel to be in this leading position?
Sometimes it feels like I'm kind of more rude, and it's not just the way how they do business.
Serena is joining us being in San Francisco. She immigrated to USA before it was popular, many years ago actually. And during this lifetime, she built an extremely beautiful career in tech. I'm Hanna, and you are watching the first season of Talks with Hanna, a space where we meet role models, women who build their careers, startups, and enterprises in tech. We talk about business, AI impact, and leadership. Stay tuned, comment, share, like, and subscribe for our YouTube. That's how you help us to be more visible.
Katerina, so welcome. You are on our podcast. I'm very grateful for you to join us today, especially now. I would like to ask you what made you very successful leader from Belarus and Minsk. I remember your beautiful office at Oktyabrskaya Street. What made you to leave your career in Minsk and Belarus and relocate to USA to start everything from scratch?
Yeah, straight to the most difficult question. Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure to talk to people about my story and hopefully inspire some people, but also share some challenges and be realistic about experience that I had. So yeah, as you mentioned, I had amazing role at Minsk. I was head of digital agency. We worked on creative campaigns with dream brands, like we worked with Samsung and Volkswagen and Nestle. So these brands you can work on a level that only global offices, some campaigns send to you. So I was really blessed to have this experience. But in the same time, last couple of years, I participated in a Cannes advertising festival as a they have a competition that calls Young Cannes Lines in a PR. And when I was going to these festivals, I always was inspired by kind of bigger impact campaigns and campaigns that also work on a different angles, like in a social responsibility and some digital assets. So however I had pleasure to work with big brands, I always feel that there is something like a more impact I can do. There is more impact on creative side, and there is a bit more flexibility and kind of acceptance on a global, like a bigger American market that I had. So, and it was also a time when people start to shift from marketing career to startups career. I think like tech started to pop up, and everyone was like, oh, talking about exits and building startups and selling their companies. And I thought like, oh, okay, that's also something very interesting. I want to ride this wave. I want to be in this community. And I had a couple of girlfriends who were our clients those time, and they shifted and joined startups, and we worked a little bit with different startups. So all of it kind of get me inspired to continue my education and my journey. In San Francisco, I applied for several universities, and I got accepted to one in Chicago and one in San Francisco. And I always dreamed to like move to Silicon Valley. I remember I called like Marina Magilka, who is a popular blogger who was always like telling inspirational stories about career in tech, interviewing different people on YouTube. I watched these interviews and I called her and I was like, how can I move? How can I get to university? And she was really helpful to tell me all the like steps and paths. Honestly, it wasn't so complicated. So it's just a lot of hard work, but pretty doable. So that's how I moved, and my maybe expectations and vision, what I thought I'm gonna do here in San Francisco, and what actually happened is very different.
So obviously you had a huge shift there. By the way, what was the year you've immigrated?
2018.
So definitely before all the waves of Belarusians start to move from Belarus, right? So it is even more inspiring in some ways. But what was your
But also very challenging, because
absolutely
I feel like when I moved, it was such a good time. Like I was so sad. I was thinking like, oh my God, I can't wait to come back with all like a knowledge and hopefully financing that I can get there. But it was like the story changed.
Yes, but the reality of life changed. Yes, absolutely. But like I would like to understand correctly, like how at this time you was producing this career decisions. Like, you know, you are a leader in the company, then you decide that you want to move, yes, and you are moving from FMCG and agency work to work for startups and tech, and you ended up actually to build a startup from scratch at some point. What were the instruments that helped you to make this career decisions at the moment?
Trial and error, because when I moved, I was thinking that, you know, that it's a very logical step. I will go to agencies that participate in this like online festivals, like as a big agency, not just like a, you know, like a small. And I will, since I have such a great experience with such big brands, I will apply and I will work in these agencies. And reality that I faced that is completely like, I don't know, like a bit different structured industry here, and some things that were challenging and kind of feel for me outdated in when I worked in advertising still in Minsk, kind of didn't change in the US. Maybe I had like completely different kind of pink glasses. How will it work? But I realized that I worked in a couple of agencies, and I realized that I want to completely like switch from agency to working with the product. And luckily in my university, we had different opportunities like participating in job fairs or get referral from professors that you build connection. A lot of things and opportunities happen just because of networking. And actually at school, I studied at the major that calls innovation and entrepreneurship. It was completely new major that was introduced like similar to MBA curriculum, but for people in San Francisco who want to launch their startup or who want to work as a VC. And we had one of special like a subject at school, networking, and we had assignment like every
amazing
day,
amazing for Eastern European to have it like you know, like a study sounds what doing what networking.
Having a journal where you should note how many new people and they check like what did you get from it.
Wow. Sir, but what rules are you following still, like during your career for networking? What do you do? Like, do you have still this journal?
Not really, but I think what I try to adapt, because for me as an Eastern European, it's very difficult. Like it doesn't happen so smoothly. Like seeing how people who was born here, how easy and natural it is for them to make connection. I was just like a bit like stuck, like how I can go to a new person, especially if this new person someone I know, like in admire, but they obviously don't know me. So how maybe it will look creepy and so on. So a lot of like restrictions and limiting beliefs that I create in my brain. So I adopted kind of framework when I come to someone, I talk about them, I either do compliment or I ask something about them, because you know I feel bad just like start to talk about what I need, and also people probably
I have something right
want to hear, like, oh, I want to work in your company, can you take me for internship? But
impostor syndrome is here.
Exactly, it works very well. I never had like situation someone like not interested or being ignorant. So you just go and like give something like a token of appreciation, of admiration to this person. And it feel like I try to make it natural. I also don't tell a compliment if I don't feel this way. And a compliment can be like about work or about something like, I don't know, location, like talk that this person gave or something like this. And after, of course, I like, can I add you on LinkedIn? Like, can I ask you about opportunity? So I think it's a little bit how to like smooth out this, as you said, imposter syndrome and limitations and build connection. And eventually, like I got a couple of internship in startups in product marketing, because also being on the agency side, you learn how to do everything, how to write, how to do SEO, how to do digital marketing, and even like build websites. So it was before the AI wave. Now I think it's even easier. You just like tell AI to do all of it. But those time, I think companies, especially startups, were really happy to see someone who is open to roll sleeves and like really like go and try different things and like don't complain. Also, you know, I hear it a lot that Eastern European people are really good to work with because we
are
don't
hard
complain.
workers. We are hard workers. We like to work from the morning till the very evening. Work-life balance, honestly, it's not something we are good at. Let's be honest for this. So like, I see, so you was proactive there, but like in general, like, do you have like, and you're starting to talk about your experience and that is how it helped you, your agency work, but in general, your Belarusian DNA, if we can say so, was there anything like that's helped you specifically to build your international career in San Francisco, or there was something that's, on the other hand, wasn't so helpful? Can you recall any maybe stories within this?
I think what helped that a lot of great companies and great people came from Belarus. Like when I applied to work at Mira, again, it was non-name brand. It was just founders, and basically they were looking for the first hire. And I thought that the idea and like all company product very interesting. And I wrote in cover letter that I worked in the agency side. We worked with Flow app, and we did some assets for them. And I think it really triggers them because it's like a very famous FemTech company.
Everybody wants to be as a Flow, right? Especially in health tech.
So even I didn't have like a experience particular in this field. I worked before and like with in the startups in the finance side, fintech. They invited me, and what I did next, again, because I came from agency experience, I know that when you come to a client, and in this case, I consider my future employee to be like a client. So I built the presentations where I analyzed what they do wrong, what doesn't work. Like it was also very simple because they just started. So it's like, imagine two like tech entrepreneurs like trying to do marketing themselves. So I was like, guys, you need to reinvent everything. And I think I feel was very impressive, because even now being on the side of a hiring manager and seeing people come in for an interview, not everyone is like investing time to prepare some proposal or vision or even look what company does before. So I think it's kind of this proactivity and like an easiness, I would say, to like, if you like the company, if you want to work, like invest your time, like do the research and contribute, come with something like how to envision, and also a good point to align, like is it how they see this company going, like their marketing strategy or not. I think what was challenging that obviously our like shyness and all this troubles to network and meet people. But again, because in the Bay Area, there are so many talented people from Belarus and people who work in the roles in the different companies, through the community and through the network of Belarusian people, I also got very helpful interest and just a referral. So it's sometimes challenging to go to American person, but it feels much easier to go to your sister brother from Belarus and ask
someone you share this DNA, right? Like cultural something. But like I think you are saying about curiosity. Wherever we are saying or talking about job applying and interviewing for this job opportunity, like I'm always saying for our community, you should to be curious at least about the company you are joining to know what they are doing, how they are doing, etc., etc. The same rule works for networking, isn't it? Like you're curious about the other person, and that's how eventually the conversation starts to evolve. And this is one of the rules. Yes, that works for any of these cases, I guess.
And sometimes you don't know, like, if this person would be helpful or relevant. But what happens, what I noticed in the Bay Area is that people pop from one job to another, and sometimes they change career, and sometimes someone who you met in a, like, I don't know, dance class end up to work in the company that you want to apply. So it's good to kind of maintain this circle of people. Even, for example, today, it doesn't look like it's someone, who you need exactly right now, like maintaining this connection, like helping someone if they reach out to you, or like, I know, initiating some like small talk really helps to build your community, because you never know, maybe they tomorrow will, raise a lot of money and invite you to work for them.
True. So getting back for your career choice to join Mira, like I wonder why finally it was Mira? Because you were saying that you applied for different companies for having internship, and I'm probably sure you could enter any other company, but why Mira?
I narrowed down my search to work with consumer products, consumer brands, because working on the B2B side, I realized that I really miss this like feeling when you can do something and see immediate feedback. So that was one of the criteria, but also I really wanted something that does social impact, or either like in sustainability or healthcare. And I think Mira for me looked really interested, despite I didn't know any success about like success track about them, new company, very early stage. I have to do everything because like it sounds like first hire and like just the one marketing person, but in reality it means that you are like doing everything, including like customer support. And actually recently we had like our on-site in Poland, and our founder showed a picture. I completely forgot about it when the first year. We also did packaging ourselves. Like we actually put our product in boxes, wrapped it up, and the second co-founder and CTO was dropping it to USPS. So it's like, now looks very fancy, but it started this way. But I think I was just fascinated by all this like women health technology and their mission. And I saw very early that there is product market fit, because I saw that communities that happen on a Facebook naturally. We didn't create it. It's like one of the early customer and ambassador created it, and other women start to join and talk about the product. I never saw anything like this working with other products, because it's very difficult to make your product such a valuable that people want themselves, like do the group around it and talk. So I think I definitely saw it has a lot of potential. And after that, like COVID happened and we started to grow very rapidly. So of course it was like, I want to be a part of this rapid growth.
Maybe for those who are not familiar, what product of Mira is, can you share what is it?
So actually Mira is a device.
Oh, like wow, you have it just in front of you.
Yeah. I think it's easy to see. It's also cute. It looks like an egg. So it's a device that measures female, exactly, measure female hormones. So there are sticks like this that you dip into urine for first morning thing, and you put stick into the device, and device synchronizes with the app and tells you your hormonal levels. And in the beginning, most of customers were women who is trying to conceive and they have regular cycles, so the app or other methods don't work for them. But now we have actually more than half of customers coming to measure hormones for perimenopause, for hormonal imbalances, for different like PCOS, autoimmune disease. So hormones is something that happen, like go through our whole life, different stages, and really like connects to all parts of the body and how body is functioning in the system. So there was a lot of things that not researched, so we don't know how the impact. But I think it's interesting that as we develop product, adding new hormones, adding new use cases, like we're collaborating with universities to do this research, and I almost feel like a scientist myself, because it's like, oh, now we can track some hormones that people are not able to track on a daily basis. So you can see how they, for example, impact metabolic health, like if there is correlation, or maybe like microbiome, because hormone, or for example, we had a study researching how hormones impact ADHD in women. So there is like a almost connection to all parts of our functioning in the body.
But like, if to differentiate from the others products as is for hormone and fertility, like what is like what stands out for Mira?
There is no other product on the market that put into this small device technology. It calls immunofluorescence, is it actually used for a laboratory blood test. So it's completely different method from other products like tests, like OPK or other devices. They use nanogold. So it's like the way to measure these molecules of hormones that gives more accurate result. We have 99 correlation with blood, with serum. So it's just like very accurate but affordable way to test it at home through urine. Of course, like blood test is a golden standard in industry, but not everyone is willing to, prick their fingers or go for a blood test every day. I want to save my time and don't prick my fingers.
Especially if you're going something through, right, in the process of something, and you want to have this daily check-ins. Going back for your role, like within the Mira, because like that's actually our main focus here. Like you already shared that you was one of the first employees within their team, right? Do you have a Is it correct? And as far as I can remember, I studied that there was no marketing department before you, and you was, and actually the marketing department was the very first department that was built within the Mira. And for sure, you are not just experience it, you lead it. This great success for Mira app and company and general tech device. Like, how does it feel to be in this position? If I remember correctly, the success of Mira under your leading is 1,323% of growth or something as that.
Yeah, at 1 year, it was like this.
In 1 year.
Yeah, it was, in the second year when we launched.
Wow. So how does it feel to be in this leading position? What this career path was for you?
It was a lot of tough learning, but I think from one side, it feels very similar to experience that I had working at the agency and like growing team in the agency, because the things that I learned from my colleagues at agency, I applied and actually set up some processes. Organizations were fully remote team. So it's like being organized, systematic, have some standard processes in place is very important. Otherwise, with the whole amount of information, it can easily get lost and people don't know what to do and like people don't feel connected. So a lot of things actually came how we worked at the agency, because agency is also very chaotic, a lot of projects, always not enough resources.
A lot of creative people around.
Exactly.
That should be managed.
I can say that the school, like a management and project management school in Belarus is amazing. Like I know how people in other companies work and startups. It's like I very rarely meet people like in the US who has the same quality standards in communication. Wow. Like I remember this book that we were reading about, like cut it like about business communication from one of Russian speaking writer, and like we bought this book for everyone in the agency. Like you need to learn how to write correctly for business. I think definitely like that helped, but also being able to, as a remote team, hire the most talented people from everywhere and people who also motivated. Like there is no success would happen without all my team members and everything that they do. Sometimes I just, like I sit and like, I don't know if I even need to go to work. I'm joking. But it's good to know that there are people like behind you who you can rely to. And like it didn't happen overnight. Like in the beginning, it was very stressful for me, not just learn from scratch how to do marketing in the US because tools are very different. Some approaches are very different, but also kind of put my, I don't know, like like I was already a manager, I was a director, put my fame kind of aside and like, roll the sleeve and like, okay, I can start like I was managing our social media, I was doing images. So it's a kind of feel like a pushback, but in the same time, it's needed to have really big leap forward because I'm truly a believer that if you want to be a good like manager, you first need to learn how to do the thing, or at least on some like acceptable high level, and after like manage it, because otherwise you will not know how to evaluate it. So as we started to grow, I kind of got the trust to hire people, and I hired some people that I knew from my network, like some people from Belarus also who moved somewhere and was looking for a job, and now
this is one of my questions. Why Mira is so like successful? Isn't it because like a half of the team, as I assume, are Belarusians? But this is we will lead later.
Yeah, maybe because it was easy to, since we have like common practices, how to work,
standards,
and
as you
similar
said.
mindset. Exactly. Start working together. Sometimes, there are some things that you can like outsource in any country. There are some like things that, for example, creative part mostly happening in US, just because you need to know kind of context and a cultural zeitgeist, and like also being a native speaker, like very important for writing, even though with AI we still like want to have high quality communication. Doesn't sound like robots, but a lot of things, that we set up processes to work remotely, and I think we were able to achieve much more by like optimizing time, working like, I don't know, 24/7, because when I go to bed, like people start to work on another side of the world, and just being very like passionate together, because I think startup, putting aside all the like unicorns and butterflies, it's a very tough work. It's very different from like working in an enterprise when you almost feel like you are ready to retire. In startup, you need to drive. There is also payback potential that is worth for at least for me, like worth the investment, but also it's not easier. So I think if you don't feel passionate about what you do, it's really easy to get burnout, because why then you need to wake up every morning and do this job.
Katerina, but like for you as a marketer and the first marketing employer and the leader of marketing for Mira, how will you describe their marketing strategy success, like for Mira, and especially in the beginning? You've already mentioned that you was excited to join this product because you found out this product market fit was obvious. Yes, it's there was a Facebook community that supported this product already. But in general, how did you navigate all this or orchestrated all this process for being for making this marketing strategy? So we see this evolvement in thousands of percentage in a year.
Yeah, we always were investing into community and like building our network of ambassadors, like working with influencers, but working with influencers in a way that feels like, part of their story. We were finding people who is trying to conceive and having challenges and giving them product. And however, it's not like they get pregnant tomorrow and post about you. It's like 9 months lead time at least.
At least.
Yeah, they don't announce successful like pregnancy until baby is born, but it was really helpful because putting the seeds in the beginning, and like people start to share success stories on social media. But from other side, you can't really scale based only on these things. So we were very scrappy and data-driven for our campaigns, for Meta, for Google, like really, measuring investments and looking for different expertise, because during this time, Meta also changed tremendously, all the privacy updates, all the algorithm AI updates, like every time it's a challenge. So I think just pushing for excellence and finding, I think a lot, we have this kind of part as a culture at Mira. If you do some things first time, it's okay, but find some expert who did it already and learn from this expert. So we leverage different consultants and agencies, even if it's someone who is you can't really work on a day-to-day basis. You can hire, it's out of budget or out of access, but still I was really fascinated that a lot of people that I feel very, high,
high level, sky level experts, right?
Exactly. We're open to hop on a 20 minutes chat and share something.
Oh, super.
Maybe because also just from cold outreach on LinkedIn. So I think if you really don't know how to do some things, for example, our email marketing agencies that are amazing came also from me just looking for someone who will help me to understand some questions, from consulting, mentorship, and a lot of connections kind of happen this way, that there is amazing person, but I can't work with this person. But we start step by step from smaller help, and maybe eventually, we have the opportunity to work together.
And what is your marketing right now? If I may say, what are the goals or aims you are working now after how many 6 years already, right? For the Mira to evolve.
Yeah, I like this question because it's actually changed. Now, in the beginning, as a marketer, I should be very scrappy with money. I spend $100 and I need to make sure that I at least make $300 from it. And as an effective acquisition, measurable, it was the main goal. Now I feel we kind of understand how to do it, but if you really want to grow and expand, we need to grow brand, we need to grow brand awareness, we need to grow problem awareness, because all this hormones is very new thing. It's not something that every woman do, and I understand. Even me talking with my girlfriends who live in San Francisco, work in startups, a lot of them don't know about hormones. They don't know what is their ranges. They don't know that you can test them. It's a very innovative field that's just happening right now. So I think just educating about it and investing more into some collaborations, partnerships. We are working on some research studies and integration with Oura, for example. So it really helps to introduce hormonal health awareness to people. And I would say now, besides generating revenue and still product sales that is must for commercial company, I'm really excited about this goal to bring more awareness. And now we have a bit of fat that we accumulated, so we can invest into it and work with some amazing influencers, celebrities, doctors to tell the story.
But did your marketing have changed with AI on the market and the tools, marketing tools that are changing so quickly because of AI as well? So do you has it impacted your department?
Yeah, it's impacted a lot. I'm just fascinated by visuals that our design team produce now with AI. It doesn't reduce completely need of photo shoots and design work, but it's a lot of opportunities and it looks great. Also, our customer support now is, I would say, a 50%. Tickets are addressed by AI agent that has sometimes better ranking than real agents, because of course the AI replies very fast. And people need to deal with the most complicated cases, but it's a lot of optimization that happens, and it's also better experience for people, because instead of waiting for a human to reply, AI agent can analyze all the history of communication, like your order, your profile as a customer, and provide information much faster. I think in terms of like real economical impact, it was the biggest change. But of course, small things are happening on like better analytics, generating ideas faster, like making notes from calls immediately and like pushing them to agenda. I think like overall operations changing, transforming completely, and it's very exciting period.
Let's imagine that someone is building her startup right now, and she doesn't have such a great marketing background as you do, but she's a founder. What will be your recommendations for this lady, like what to be focused on within the marketing, or the first steps within the marketing for the startup? From your side, from a person who had this great experience of building from scratch.
Yeah, I'm also consulting and working as a mentor with some FemTech, like early stage FemTech founders. And I see that all the mistakes are like pretty standard. Founder is really wearing so many hats. And also with marketing, it's so overwhelming, because you listen podcast, you went on a conference, like you met a friend, and everyone telling you, are you doing this? Are you doing that? So besides like a founder job, you have like a lot of input, what you should do. So I think like being able to filter what really to focus on is really important. And how to do it is to, again, involve someone as an advisor, if you can pay like for some equity, or as a mentor. Some people are really willing to mentor people for free, like, and especially if you join some like accelerator or some community, or just like on a paid basis, but just, I don't know, weekly like brainstorm, weekly consultation, who build very similar company in the same industry, like not someone like if you're building product for doctors, someone who is for consumer because they will not know, but someone who was really close to you want to build, and like leverage this expertise. But for execution, like I recommend very early for every founder to find someone who is maybe young, not so experienced, but motivated, driven, energetic, and really open to learn different AI. Like now with AI, you can do even more things, just one person. You don't need to hire like 5 people from beginning, but found this one person who can join team earlier, who can be motivated to build something together, and eventually like build the team as I did, and like combine these 2 people, like someone who's expert and who can navigate and tell what is worth to do, what is not worth to do, and someone who can execute pretty independently, don't ask like question every time, and offload marketing work. And you're not completely hands off, but still like, because I see like founders really get burnout if they're trying to like do TikToks themselves and like run ads and do social media, because it's probably not the best use of their time, and there is much more that they can leverage.
So the general idea and the advice is to have a help of an expert within the field. Don't be afraid to ask for a help. And as you said, you in your journey met many amazing experts that gave their advices even for free, as I got it.
Exactly.
In this part of questions about Mira, I have one very specific question. Like it's more on a level of business, but I'm wondering. You've been saying that Mira, and we know first of all that Mira is also a hardware and you provide services. You've been saying and that to build Mira, you are having a great conversations and engagement from universities, from research centers, etc., etc., etc. The general question is that how do you think would this kind of company and startup be possible and its success be possible within other area and that's not United States of America? Because I just had an experience of going for a field trip to USA, and I saw what you're saying. I do understand how does it work when universities help startups, startups are help universities, and there is a real great synergy between these parts of the society. But I'm not aware and not sure that, for instance, Europe has it. So for that reason, I wonder, like, how do you think, like, what is it possible to have the same success in the other areas in the world?
Yeah, I would say on the side of universities, it's important, but it's not the main driving force. And actually, one of the first universities that reached out to us and wanted to study together was University from Bulgaria. I think that the one guy was like professor so fascinated, they found us and like we started to communicate. But of course, it's very important for endorsement and just like no confirmation that your product works. But with fintech products, a lot of things related to women's health is not like depending on countries. For example, UK is a bit different, but in US they are not covered by insurance. So the path to get into medical systems through insurance and everything, very complicated. Sometimes companies die on the path because it's like takes a lot of time. It feels frustrated because it's like connection. It's very outdated, old-fashioned systems, I think, everywhere in the world. So what helps companies to kind of grow first in US, and some companies from Europe also go to US first, actually, because there are consumers that they already feel hopeless about like healthcare system helping with the women's health. So they're willing to buy products and do their own kind of ChatGPT doctor at home. So it really helped Mira to grow as well. Like majority of our sales initially coming from direct to consumer. So in the education, because of unfortunately because of these challenges with healthcare systems, like people really willing to take step. IVF
business opportunity like also
$15,000. Of course, yeah, I would buy and try this for 200 first and investing into IVF. So that was really helpful because now, you know, our founder tells the story that when she was thinking about the product, she came to her OB and she talked about it, and OB was like, "Oh no, that's a bad idea because we don't want women to know about these numbers. It's like very scary because what if they will ask questions and so on." So I think now, yeah, I understand why. I don't blame them. They have like very limited time to see a patient, and they're not trained for it. So of course they don't want to like someone sue them for information that is not right. But I think what we see now is the pivot that doctors actually see and consumers adopt. Like a lot of our customers, they come to their doctors and say like, "See, I'm ovulating different time," or "See, my PDG is low," or "See, I'm actually going through perimenopause, so give me my hormonal replacement therapy." Like it's easy to advocate, and doctors are more open to look into things like this. So US is really great, like a playground kind of with a lot of audience and also like paying capacity. For people to adopt fintech products and give feedback, and based on this consumer adoption, you can go to doctors and adopt B2B, which I think might be more challenging for other markets. But we have amazing examples of natural cycles from Switzerland, and Aura House actually also started in Finland. So it's like a lot of companies that came from Europe, and I would say established with excellence, design quality, attention to details, very high like attention and respect for research and clinical validation. That helps, to sell to US consumer, which is just numbers game, bigger audience.
I see. Now I have a question for you as a FemTech expert, because for sure I perceive you as such. Many of our friends in common are saying the same, by the way. Irina Yevdokimova, for instance, now having a talk with you, I remembered our conversations. So half a year ago, we've been doing here with Google FemTech conference. It's a huge pity that you couldn't come for this event. But thank you for giving the context of your colleague Evgenia, and she made a great speech on.
Yeah, she's amazing.
She's literally amazing. But it's been like a half year already from the March, and I would like to ask you as an expert, how do you see what are the situation within the FemTech industry? What are the trends that you see and you're inspired the most?
Yeah, we just went with my colleagues to a Women's Health Conference in Boston. And one of trends that everyone highlighting is to have, there are like more wearables, trackers right now, like Whoop, bracelet, Oura Ring, and our like hormonal tracker and some other things. So you can do blood test, you can do microbiome test, and where all this data like emerge together. So I think one of the biggest trend, companies starting build solutions where you can plug test all your devices and have like a place, like a hub that would interpret this data for you, boosted by some AI health coaches or plug-in doctors, functional medicine doctors, or like real clinical practitioners who also can look into this data and like see some maybe correlations we see in one place. Because I think was a rise a recent couple years really lies with a lot of different tests and wearables and things like devices, and now we're coming into stage of consolidating this data and really overlapping it and interpreting what does it mean and how, what actions you can take, how you can connect to a doctor, what supplements you can take. So I think it's something that we're going to work more next year, integrating into solutions like this and integrating in our software, like with other wearables, for example, or other products, because it's very interesting for me to see, for example, how is the microbiome impacting fertility and how hormones impact microbiome and like different women health challenges, disease, like bacterial vaginosis, for example, can be triggered by increased level of estrogen. So things like this that were not studied before, but they really can open access to new treatments and much better solution.
Does it mean that you see FemTech still the industry that is nice to launch a startup? This has huge potential to bring decisions.
I think it is, but I look into it as not just like FemTech, because I think this buzzword kind of like people don't like right now because it's associated with something small and a niche. So I noticed that people start to rename them as a women's health or just overall health.
Wow, that's also interesting. Yeah.
But I feel like there are a lot of unsolved needs and problems, and I look into potential of a company if you're really solving the problem. There are definitely more problems that are not solved right now around women's health, but I will look into it more like if there is rather than just launching company in a FemTech, like if there is a problem that has a high potential to be like solved effectively commercially, and we see that there are still like directions. One of reports for this year about like Silicon Valley Bank, they do this like women's health tech overview every year, and they see trends more into reproductive health is more or less like saturated, I would say, connected to women's health. But for example, cardiovascular, like a muscle health, bone health, things related to like brain and neuroscience, there are still so many things that can be improved and solutions that are needed. So I would just look broader I think FemTech a bit has this association in public with just like something related to like period care, or like reproductive. And I think women's health is much broader. And of course, menopause. I think menopause is a bit like in US reaching kind of like a buzzword. Everything is like so many companies launch something for menopause. You can see like telehealth companies launching like Ozempic for menopause, and meal plan for Ozempic for menopause and a supplement. So, but I think this bubble eventually probably will transform into some like a more established company take over and set standards, but it's still better than a lot of things emerged for menopause. Like FDA just removed black box with cautious from hormonal replacement therapy. So I think all of this maybe hype, I would say, still have positive impact because it helps to bring awareness for people and also bring awareness from government and from commercial companies like investors, big strategic pharmaceutical companies. Everyone wants to be in the menopause right now.
Do you invest to any startup or company yourself? I don't know, like maybe, or at least following some startups or founders that you are willing to invest in?
I worked and I do some consulting. I really interested in companies that work with the period blood. I think it's an amazing opportunity and really unleveraged biomarker that can bring a lot of insights. With all of this tests, we still need to remember about like path and regulation because it's something that unfortunately kind of how like it makes barriers for innovations. But I think it's very interesting. And I look into companies that do like a different diagnostics for cancer, for cervical cancer, for breast cancer, because I see that how with AI diagnostics can be improved and predictions. So one of companies I follow, Clarity, they just raised I think more than 40 million this year to do this, like to use basic mammograms for not to interpret them, but more like predict if breast cancer potentially can happen. So it's really interesting because, you know, like with cancer, it's just such an unfortunate disease that I truly believe we eventually can solve with all this innovation.
I'm sure we will see this moment even. Katerina, and like you've been working for Belarusian tech and maybe not even tech, but for Belarusian business. Now you're working for American one. Like, I wonder, how will you evaluate, like, how differently these different areas or different country cultures are making business? So how do you think we Eastern Europeans are doing business differently than, for instance, American does?
Yeah, what I observe that our culture is very, I don't know, like here they call it transactional, but I would say like a more kind of, we don't feel that it's rigid and cold, but for people like in America, it feels like this. We're like direct to the point. We don't like do the small talk or the fluff.
No networking and no small talks. Let's make
exactly.
it right?
Exactly. So here sometimes it feels like a kind of more rude and it's not just the way how they do business. Business here, I feel like a lot based in like personal connection, like relationship, talking, and even when I worked in a startup here with the office, so kind of can observe more how people, they don't tell like very direct feedback to each other because they feel like it can be upsetting. Like, you know, I used to tell very direct feedback to my employees and I kind of struggle with some complaints because one time my manager, like I came to the designer and I told him like, what the fuck, we need to like deliver, you promised you deliver this design yesterday, like today, like evening, there is no design. And he was like, I'm working. And so he complained to my manager like asked me like, you can't really talk to him this way, like everyone like have a lot of work, blah, blah, blah. So what I feel is like waste of time for me if you're not talking directly. But in the same time, I start to understand that, you know, when you work with the people from the same culture, maybe it's fine because it's how they operate too. But when you work in an international environment, it's very important to learn how to work with everyone and what is this acceptable way that is still deliver results for you. I don't say that it means that you don't need to like ask for something or need to be just like fluffy and positive, but in a way, I think there is a lot of value in this communication, because I also found myself appreciating kind of more warm, more like highlighting some achievements from my managers, more like talking about some stuff, trying to learn what you do at home and, going on happy hours. I think it's something that like in the agency, we had really tight culture and like everyone was friends with each other. But I think in a corporate environment, it's not always like this. And I think like still in startups, however, it's very hard working and a lot of pressure. People take time to talk to you, to really be like curious about you, all the small talks, appreciate, and it feels kind of warmer. And even someone deliver like a bad news for you and some critical feedback, in this sandwich form that is famous, coming from US, is still like a just nicer relationship. That I don't want to come back to, like just having this rude, rigid environment at work.
Oh, wow. Already. Like this was my question, how your leadership evolved by changing cultures. But actually, I see you gave already a picture of it, that you became much more empathic, if you may say so.
I'm still learning how to do it. But I think, my employees and their feedback is teaching me how to give more appraisal, how to highlight achievements, how to celebrate wins. Because, there's like a Eastern European situation, especially for girls. You come from school at home, you bring 5, and what your parents tell you, why 5 plus? They don't tell you, you're such a good girl. So you're always like,
absolutely,
I can do it better. So I think in the many cases I had feedback from employee to me is that, however, we always can do better. It's important to stop and acknowledge what we did and how good is it, and slow down and like be celebrate wins, because we are like always run for excellence, for perfectionism, and it's important to pause.
We've already started to talk about this. Mira seems to be, for me, from my side, like a huge part of the team are Belarusians. Maybe there's some angle I see. But once again, I want to highlight this, that I see this. And the question is it a strategy you have for hiring Belarusians, for hiring your people, for Mira?
I think for marketing team, and came just naturally, just because I had some people I worked before, and when I joined the company and I need influencer manager, I started to ask him on like my network. So it just happened, like, and people bring other people that they know. So
their networks.
It happened. Like this. But also I think like everyone in the company really enjoy working with Belarusian people, with other Eastern European people, and like everyone is located everywhere. So I think we have a lot of people like in Europe, but also people in Latin America, like in US and Canada. So people travel, and sometimes they work and travel. So it gives much more opportunity. And I think also immigrants, they have this kind of very entrepreneurial, maybe not lifestyle, mindset for their life. So it kind of helps. I noticed that it's like for people who travel a lot, who move to different countries, it's easy for them to adapt working in startup, and it's something that they appreciate. Maybe because they're like entrepreneurs of their life, not sitting on the same place, always trying something new, being really brave.
Be also desperation,
risky.
For sure. Yeah. Well, we are already risking by immigrating somewhere. So, Katerina, what will be your advice or a message for any Belarusian or maybe Eastern European or maybe in general women or female who is starting their careers in IT right now or willing to get for leadership positions? What will be your piece of advice?
Yeah, I would say that really don't hesitate to find good mentors and build your advisory board. Like imagine yourself as a startup. Like you go to the market that probably new, you don't know anything about this market, like how you will get there. Like build your board of advisors that can be a mix of someone who is give just a like good career advice, or there are, like I know this career coaches sometimes cost a fortune, but in a lot of cases, it's really worth it because they can bring you from a point A to point B much faster than you will try to figure out yourself or with ChatGPT. And also like some mentors from companies that you want to work with, or just, I don't know, inspirational leaders who can give you this amazing like kick in the butt so you feel more inspired. I think it's helped me, and I'm really happy that like studying in a university in San Francisco like already provided some infrastructure for it and connections. But besides it, I'm still like every year like thinking, you know, what new person, what new expertise I want to bring to my board of advisors, and like searching for this person intentionally, finding someone and having this person in my like orbit. So if there is any case or help needed or introduction, referral, I can ask and I'm not only relying on myself, I'm really asking around about any help. And I think our people sometimes shy to ask for help.
That was Katherine Sakovich.
This first season was made by Women in Tech project in partnership with Center for Gender Studies at YHU and funded by European Union. Stay tuned and comment and like and share and subscribe for our YouTube channel. That's how you help us. That's how you help the whole Women in Tech community. Thank you.